Let's destroy the biggest lie you've ever been told. Some people are just born different. No one in my family is a genius. I'm just not naturally gifted. Wrong. If genius were natural talent, most geniuses would have quit the first time they failed. They didn't. They trained. They obsessed. They repeated. They endured embarrassment. They stayed when others walked away. Genius is not a gift. It's a decision made daily. This audiobook will show you one truth. You are not missing talent. You are missing repetition. You are not lacking intelligence. You are lacking deliberate pressure. And that can change today. Chapter 1. Stop waiting for talent. Talent is often just early exposure plus repetition. Most gifted people simply started earlier and failed more. Waiting to feel ready is the fastest way to stay average. Repetitive phrase: start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard. Chapter 2. Obsession beats inspiration. Inspiration fades. Obsession builds skill. Geniuses think about their craft when no one is watching. Deep focus compounds faster than scattered effort. Repetitive phrase: what you obsess over, you become. Chapter 3. Train in silence. Loud beginners chase validation. Quiet builders chase mastery. Skill grows faster without distraction. Protect your focus like it's oxygen. Repetitive phrase: work in silence, improve in silence, rise in silence. Chapter 4. Embrace boring repetition. Genius is built in the mundane, not the dramatic. Repetition wires the brain for automatic excellence. The boring work separates professionals from amateurs. Repetitive phrase: master the basics, repeat the basics. Chapter 5. Fail more than others. Every mistake is data. Failure is not proof of inadequacy, it's proof of effort. High-level thinkers treat failure as feedback. Repetitive phrase: fail, learn, adjust, repeat. Chapter 6. Control your emotional reactions. Emotional control increases learning speed. Anger and ego block improvement. Calm thinkers adapt faster. Repetitive phrase: respond, don't react. Chapter 7. Build mental endurance. Genius requires staying longer than others. Mental stamina matters more than IQ. Most people quit when discomfort appears. Repetitive phrase: stay longer, push further. Chapter 8. Study the greats strategically. Reverse engineer excellence. Copy structure, not personality. Model habits, not hype. Repetitive phrase: success leaves patterns. Chapter 9. Think in systems, not goals. Goals motivate, systems transform. Daily habits outperform occasional bursts. Consistency compounds into expertise. Repetitive phrase: trust the system, repeat the system. Chapter 10. Strengthen focus like a muscle. Attention is your competitive advantage. Distraction kills depth. Deep work produces rare skill. Repetitive phrase: focus is power. Chapter 11. Detach from applause. External validation weakens internal drive. Genius is built privately before it's seen publicly. Approval is temporary. Skill is permanent. Repetitive phrase: seek growth, not praise. Chapter 12. Redefine what genius really means. Genius is sustained discipline. Genius is emotional control under pressure. Genius is consistency when motivation dies. Repetitive phrase: genius is built daily. Chapter 13. Choose long-term identity over short-term comfort. Identity drives behavior. Decide who you are becoming. Align daily actions with that identity. Repetitive phrase: become it before you achieve it. Chapter 14. Turn knowledge into unstoppable confidence. Knowledge alone does not create results. Most people study, read, and plan, but never act. Confidence comes from applying what you know, failing, adjusting, and doing it again. Acting despite fear and doubt is what separates ordinary people from high performers. Confidence is not arrogance, it is trust in your preparation and your ability to act under pressure. Start small, fail fast, learn faster, repeat. Chapter 16. Become the person others cannot outperform. Outperforming others is not about talent or luck. It's about relentless action, unshakable focus, and refusing to quit. The person who dominates doesn't stop when it's uncomfortable. They outwork, outlearn, and outlast everyone else in their lane. Consistency, mental toughness, and emotional control create a level no one can reach. Becoming untouchable means turning preparation into action and action into identity. Chapter 1. Stop waiting for talent. Let's get something straight. Talent is not your problem. Waiting is. You keep telling yourself a story. I'm not naturally gifted. I don't have that special spark. Some people just have it. No, they don't. What they have is exposure. What they have is repetition. What they have is scars. Talent is often just early exposure plus repetition. Read that again in your mind. Early exposure, relentless repetition. That's it. The kid who seems naturally good at music, he's been playing since he was 5. The entrepreneur who looks effortlessly confident, she failed publicly 10 times before you noticed her. The athlete who dominates the field, you didn't see the 5 a.m. practices. You only see the performance. You don't see the process. And because you don't see the process, you assume magic. There is no magic. There is only work. You have a choice. You can keep waiting to feel talented, or you can start building skill. That's the key. Most gifted people simply started earlier and failed more. They didn't have more potential than you. They had more attempts than you. And attempts build intelligence. Attempts build instinct. Attempts build mastery. You don't wake up skilled. You wake up and practice. You don't wake up confident. You earn confidence through repetition. But here's where you get stuck. You want certainty before action. You want proof before effort. You want applause before performance. You don't need their permission. You need proof you're gifted. You need proof you're consistent. Waiting to feel ready is the fastest way to stay average. Let that hit you. Average people wait for the perfect moment. Average people wait for motivation. Average people wait for validation. High performers move before they feel prepared. They move when they're unsure. They move when they're uncomfortable. They move when they're doubting themselves. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. That's the formula. You think the difference between you and someone great is intelligence. It's not. It's tolerance. Tolerance for embarrassment. Tolerance for failure. Tolerance for being bad at something long enough to become good. You quit too early. That's the truth. You try something for a week. You don't see progress. You panic. You stop. Then you label yourself. Maybe I'm just not good at this. No, you just didn't stay long enough. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. The first phase of mastery is awkward. You will look stupid. You will feel slow. You will question yourself. Good. That means you're learning. Every expert you admire once felt incompetent, but they didn't interpret incompetence as identity. They interpreted it as training. You have a choice. Interpret struggle as proof you lack talent, or interpret struggle as proof you're in the arena. That's the key. You're addicted to comfort. You want to feel capable before you begin. You want to feel skilled before you practice. That's backwards. Action creates capability. Practice creates skill.
Confidence is not a prerequisite, it's a byproduct. Read that again in your mind. Confidence is a byproduct. You build it brick by brick, through repetition, through boredom, through frustration, through days when you don't feel like it. Start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard. Look at children. They don't ask if they're talented enough to walk. They fall, they get up, they fall again. No drama, no identity crisis, just repetition. You stopped doing that as an adult. Now you protect your ego instead of building your skill. You don't try because you might fail. You don't speak because you might stutter. You don't build because someone might judge. You don't need their permission. You need practice. Talent is overrated. Consistency is underrated. The world praises natural ability because it's romantic, but the truth is boring. Genius is repetition under pressure. You want to know the real advantage of talented people? They didn't stop. That's it. They stayed in the game longer than others. When it got frustrating, they adjusted. When it got boring, they continued. When it got hard, they endured. Start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard. If you keep waiting to feel special, you will stay ordinary. If you keep waiting for clarity, you will stay confused. Movement creates clarity. Effort creates insight. You think you need more information. You don't. You need more attempts. That's the key. You are not behind because you lack intelligence. You are behind because you lack repetition. And repetition is a choice. You can practice daily. You can fail daily. You can improve daily. Or you can scroll, compare, complain. You have a choice. Let's talk about exposure. Early exposure creates familiarity. Familiarity reduces fear. When you do something long enough, it stops feeling impossible. It starts feeling normal. And what feels normal feels easy. That's why someone else's excellence looks effortless. It's not effortless. It's familiar. They've been there before, many times. You haven't. Yet. That word matters. Yet. You're not skilled yet. You're not confident yet. You're not exceptional yet. But you could be if you stop waiting. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. This is not about hype. It's about discipline. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to show up. Again and again and again. You think mastery is dramatic. It's not. It's quiet. It's daily. It's sometimes boring, but it works. Let me challenge you. Pick one skill you've been avoiding because you don't have talent. Writing, public speaking, business, fitness, learning a language. Now ask yourself, have you truly given this 500 focused hours, or did you quit after 15? Be honest. Most people don't lack talent, they lack volume. Volume of attempts, volume of mistakes, volume of reps. You build skill like you build muscle, repetition under resistance. That's the key. And resistance will show up. Doubt, criticism, slow progress, fatigue. Good. That's the gym. Stay in it. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Here's your transformation. Stop asking, am I talented? Start asking, did I practice today? Stop asking, what if I fail? Start asking, what did I learn? Stop waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You don't need their permission. You need persistence. You are capable of more than you've proven, but proof requires repetition, and repetition requires humility. Are you willing to be bad long enough to become great? That's the real question. You have a choice. Protect your ego or build your skill. One leads to comfort, the other leads to growth. And growth always feels uncomfortable at first. That's normal. That's training. That's the path. Start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard. Strong takeaway. Talent is not the gatekeeper of success. Repetition is. If you stop waiting and start building, everything changes. But starting is only step one. because once you begin, you'll need something even stronger than talent. You'll need obsession. And that's where we're going next. Chapter 2. Obsession beats inspiration. Inspiration is weak. It feels powerful. It feels electric. It feels like the beginning of something great, but it fades. Obsession doesn't. You are waiting to feel inspired. That's why you stop. You start strong. You watch a video. You read a quote. You feel the surge. Then, 2 days later, silence. Energy gone. Motivation gone. You're back to average. That's because inspiration is emotional. Obsession is structural. Inspiration visits. Obsession moves in. If you want to build genius, you cannot depend on emotion. You must depend on commitment. You have a choice. Chase motivation or build obsession. That's the key. The people you call geniuses are not inspired more than you. They are consumed more than you. They think about their craft in the shower. They think about it while walking. They think about it before sleeping. They wake up thinking about it. Not because they have to, because they want to. Obsession beats inspiration. Inspiration says, let's try. Obsession says, we're not stopping. You don't need their permission. You don't need applause. You need immersion. Look at the best in any field. Athletes study game footage for hours. Writers rewrite the same paragraph 20 times. Entrepreneurs analyze numbers obsessively. Chess players replay losses move by move. That's not inspiration. That's obsession. You think obsession is unhealthy. No. Misguided obsession is unhealthy. Disciplined obsession is powerful.
Chapter 5. Fail more than others. Let's remove the fear right now. Failure is not the opposite of genius. Avoiding failure is. You think successful people fail less. Wrong. They fail more. More attempts, more experiments, more risks, more lessons. That's the key. You are not behind because you failed. You are behind because you stopped after failing. Big difference. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. And when you fail, stay again. Failure is data, nothing more. But your ego turns it into identity. I failed becomes I am a failure. That's where you lose. You don't need their permission to fail. You need resilience to continue. Let's be honest. You don't fear failure. You fear embarrassment. You fear judgment. You fear looking incompetent. But incompetence is the beginning of competence. Read that again. Incompetence is the beginning of competence. Every master was once terrible. Every expert was once confused. Every genius once doubted themselves. The only difference? They stayed in the game. You have a choice. Interpret failure emotionally or interpret failure strategically. Emotion says, I'm not good enough. Strategy says, what can I adjust? That's the key. Failure exposes weakness, and weakness shows you exactly where to improve. It's feedback, precise feedback. If you remove emotion, failure becomes useful. Let's break it down. You try, you fail. You analyze, you adjust, you try again. That loop builds skill. The person who avoids trying avoids the loop. No loop, no growth. You don't need their permission to try again. You need courage. Courage to look foolish. Courage to risk rejection. Courage to continue after mistakes. Most people fail once and retreat. High performers fail repeatedly and refine. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. And when it collapses, rebuild. Failure strengthens mental endurance. When you survive failure, something shifts. You realize you didn't die. You realize embarrassment fades. You realize recovery is possible. And that realization makes you dangerous, because now you're less afraid. Fear shrinks with exposure. The more you fail, the less power failure has over you. That's the key. You think confidence comes from success. No, confidence comes from surviving failure.
When you've failed 10 times and still stand, you stop fearing the 11th attempt. Let's talk about volume. If you attempt something 100 times, you will improve. It's almost mathematical. But you quit at attempt number 7. You label yourself too early. You judge yourself too quickly. You don't need to be perfect. You need repetition under pressure. And pressure includes failure. Look at children learning to walk. They fall constantly. They don't analyze their identity. They don't announce retirement from walking. They fall. They stand. They repeat. That's the mindset. Somewhere along the way, you became fragile. You protected your ego more than your growth. You avoided situations where you might look inexperienced. But inexperience is temporary. Regret is permanent. You have a choice. Protect your image or build your ability. One feels safe, the other builds power. That's the key. Failure also builds creativity. When one approach doesn't work, you are forced to innovate. If everything worked immediately, you would never evolve. Struggle forces intelligence. Difficulty sharpens thinking. Pressure reveals character. You don't grow when it's easy. You grow when it resists you. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. And when you fail, document the lesson, not the pain, the lesson. Ask better questions. What specifically went wrong? What assumption was incorrect? What skill is missing? What can be improved immediately? That's how you extract value from failure. Without analysis, failure becomes trauma. With analysis, failure becomes training. That's the key. Let's remove another illusion. Failure is not always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Slow progress, missed targets, stalled growth. Those are failures too, and they demand adjustment, not emotion. Adjustment. You are not stuck. You are unadjusted. Small shifts create massive improvement, but only if you are honest enough to evaluate. You don't need their permission to pivot. You need humility. Humility says, this approach didn't work. Ego says, I refuse to admit I was wrong. Ego blocks growth. Humility accelerates it. You have a choice. Defend your mistake or refine your method. Refinement wins long term. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're not failing, you're not stretching. If you're not stretching, you're stagnating. Safe goals produce safe results. Risky attempts produce rapid growth. Failure is evidence you are attempting something meaningful. It's proof you are expanding. That's the key. The world respects success, but success is built on invisible failures. Nobody applauds the losses. Nobody celebrates the rejected drafts. Nobody sees the failed prototypes, but they exist. Behind every breakthrough is a stack of mistakes. You must increase your tolerance for that stack. Let it grow. Let it teach you. Let it sharpen you. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. And fail more than others. Because when you fail more, you gather more data. More data creates better decisions. Better decisions create better outcomes. It's not magic, it's math. Attempts multiplied by adjustments equal improvement. You cannot skip attempts. You cannot skip adjustments. So stop fearing the process. Embrace it. Here's the transformation. Stop asking, what if I fail? Start asking, how many times can I attempt this? Stop avoiding embarrassment. Start collecting lessons. Stop retreating after setbacks. Start refining after setbacks. That's how you separate yourself. You become anti-fragile, stronger after impact, calmer after rejection, sharper after mistakes. You have a choice. Let failure define you or let failure develop you. One shrinks you, the other strengthens you. Strong takeaway. Failure is not proof you lack talent. It is proof you are in the arena. If you fail more intelligently than others, you will grow faster than others. But to use failure correctly, you must control something critical, your emotional reaction. Because if your emotions explode every time you stumble, you will sabotage your own progress. So next, we go deeper. You must learn to control your emotional reactions, because discipline without emotional control collapses under pressure. Chapter 6. Control your emotional reactions. Your skill is not the problem. Your emotions are. You don't quit because you lack ability. You quit because you feel frustrated. You quit because you feel embarrassed. You quit because you feel discouraged. Feelings are temporary. Decisions are permanent. That's the key. Emotional control is a superpower. Without it, your talent collapses under pressure. With it, average ability becomes dangerous. You have a choice: react emotionally or respond strategically. Reaction is instant. Response is intentional. Reaction is ego. Response is discipline. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. And when it gets uncomfortable, control yourself. Let's be honest. Most of your bad decisions were emotional. You sent the message too fast. You quit the project too early. You argued instead of listening. You avoided feedback because it hurt. Emotion hijacked logic. That's normal, but normal doesn't build genius. Calm does. When you control your emotional reaction, you buy time. Time to think, time to analyze, time to choose wisely. That pause is power. That pause separates leaders from reactors. You don't need their permission to stay calm. You need awareness. Awareness that feelings are signals, not commands. Anger is a signal. Fear is a signal. Jealousy is a signal. Insecurity is a signal. Signals require interpretation, not obedience. That's the key. When someone criticizes you, what happens? Do you shut down? Do you defend? Do you attack back? Or do you pause and ask, is there truth here? That pause builds maturity. Emotional control accelerates growth, because when you don't waste energy reacting, you can redirect energy improving. Let's talk about frustration. Frustration appears when expectations clash with reality. You expected faster progress. You expected easier results. You expected recognition. Reality didn't cooperate. Now you feel discouraged. But frustration is not a stop sign. It's a recalibration point. You have a choice. Let frustration shrink you or let it sharpen you. That's the key. High performers are not emotionless. They feel everything. They just don't let feelings drive decisions. They feel doubt, but they act anyway. They feel fear, but they move anyway. They feel pressure, but they execute anyway. Control doesn't mean...
Chapter 8. Study the greats strategically. Most people admire greatness. Few study it. Even fewer study it intelligently. Admiration feels good. It inspires temporary motivation, but it does not build skill. You have a choice: observe casually or study strategically. Start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard, and study with intent. Let's be honest. You scroll through quotes, you watch highlights, you nod and feel inspired. Then what? Nothing changes, because inspiration without strategy is entertainment. Genius is built through observation plus analysis plus execution, not by watching from the sidelines. Here's how the greats are studied. 1. Dissect patterns. The difference between good and great is often invisible. It's subtle. It's consistent. It's predictable. You must identify these patterns. The rhythm of a speaker, the structure of a best-selling book, the timing of a champion athlete. Patterns reveal method. Method reveals strategy. Strategy builds results. 2. Analyze decisions. Every choice the greats make is a data point. What did they prioritize? When did they pivot? What did they ignore? Your job is to extract lessons, not imitate blindly, not worship blindly. Learn why it worked. Learn how it fits your journey. 3. Replicate fundamentals. Strategy without action is useless. Once you identify their approach, start small.
Apply the core principles repeatedly, not to copy them, to internalize mastery. Repetition makes it yours. Repetition rewires your brain. Repetition creates speed, intuition, and judgment. 4. Study failures too. Don't just study wins, study losses. Failures reveal what most people ignore: the blind spots, the missteps, the trade-offs. Understanding failure gives you an unfair advantage. You learn what to avoid. You see the invisible obstacles. You accelerate your growth while others repeat mistakes. 5. Focus on transferable skills. Not every strategy is universal. Don't mimic everything. Extract what's adaptable. Learn what strengthens your own craft. Apply with creativity. That's strategic study. Most people try to copy the outcome. Strategic learners copy the process. That's the key. You don't need their permission to model excellence. You need curiosity and discipline. Here's the trap. You overvalue originality at the beginning. You think you must create something entirely new to stand out. Wrong. At first, mastery is imitation. Execution over innovation. Repetition over novelty. Study over improvisation. Once you've internalized fundamentals, then innovation emerges naturally. Start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard, and model excellence deliberately. Let's talk about the mindset required. You must approach study like a scientist. Curiosity without bias, analysis without emotion, focus without distraction. Observe what works, ignore what's irrelevant. Document patterns, test hypotheses, refine constantly. Most learners are passive. They consume content like entertainment. You must consume with purpose. Purpose creates action. Action creates improvement. Improvement creates mastery. Here's a secret. Strategic study accelerates your progress more than raw effort alone. Effort without direction spins wheels. Direction without effort produces nothing. Effort plus direction compounds exponentially. You have a choice. Wander blindly or follow the path intelligently. Observe what the greats do under pressure. Notice how they adapt. Notice how they respond to failure. Notice their decision-making. Then apply. Apply with intensity. Apply with repetition. Apply until it becomes instinct. That's the key. Strategic study also builds confidence. When you know what works, you stop guessing. When you understand patterns, you stop panicking. When you've practiced what you observed, you stop doubting. Confidence under pressure is a rare advantage. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. And study smarter, not just harder. Strong takeaway. Admiring the greats is easy. Studying them strategically is hard. But hard work guided by intelligence accelerates mastery. Pattern recognition, disciplined application, and constant adjustment separate the merely interested from the exceptional. Next, we go deeper. Now that you've learned to endure and study strategically, it's time to master your habits. Because genius is not built in occasional effort. It's built in daily routines. Chapter 9. Dominate through daily high impact. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. You are not your talent. You are not your intelligence. You are your habits. The small, repeated actions you perform daily determine the trajectory of your life. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard, and make it habitual. Most people wait for motivation. They wait for inspiration. They wait for some magical day when they feel ready. That day never comes. Habits bypass readiness. Habits bypass emotion. Habits operate automatically. That's the power. Your daily habits are your foundation. Miss a few and nothing seems to work. Follow them consistently and results compound beyond imagination. Here's the key. Habits are identity in motion. They tell your brain who you are before you even think. You wake up and your actions define your day before your mind has a chance to negotiate. Do you want to be average? Then ignore your habits. Do you want to be exceptional? Then dominate your daily routine. Let's break it down. 1. Start small, scale big. You don't build genius in a day. You build it one action at a time. One push-up, one paragraph, one focused hour. Small wins compound into unstoppable momentum. Ignore the small, and the big never arrives. 2. Consistency is non-negotiable. Some days you'll feel great, some days miserable, some days bored. The average person quits when it's hard. The disciplined person shows up anyway. Start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard, and show up consistently. The key is non-negotiable execution. Make your habits sacred. Protect them from distraction, from laziness, from excuses. 3. Stack habits for maximum impact. Habits alone are powerful. Stacked together, they're unstoppable. Morning routine, focused work, learning blocks, deliberate practice. Stack them. Let them build upon each other. One action leads to another. Momentum builds automatically. 4. Measure progress relentlessly. You can't improve what you don't track. Measure reps, measure output, measure growth. Daily habits become data points. Data points become insight. Insight becomes mastery. 5. Eliminate weak habits. Bad habits are toxic. They drain energy, focus, and motivation. Identify the habits that undermine progress. Cut them ruthlessly. Energy wasted scrolling is energy not invested in your future. Time wasted entertaining excuses is time stolen from your success. 6. Anchor habits to identity. Don't say, "I want to work out." Say, "I am a disciplined person who trains daily." Don't say, "I want to write." Say, "I am a writer." Identity and habits reinforce each other. The longer you act like the person you want to become, the faster you actually become them. 7. Use friction as fuel. Every time a habit feels difficult, that's where growth occurs. Resistance is your friend. The easy path builds nothing. Push through the resistance daily. Discomfort is the training ground. Endurance is built in boredom, repetition, and struggle. Let's talk about repetition. Habits without repetition are useless. 1 day of discipline is a fluke. 7 days is practice. 30 days builds momentum. 90 days rewires your brain. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard, and repeat until it's instinct. That's how genius becomes automatic. Here's the hidden truth. Most people fail not because they lack ambition, but because they lack structure. Ambition is fleeting. Structure endures. Your daily habits are your structure. Without them, chaos wins. With them, success is inevitable. Think about your environment. Habits are shaped by surroundings. Eliminate triggers for bad behavior. Increase cues for good behavior. Design your life to make discipline easier. Automation is power. The less you rely.
Chapter 11. The Art of Strategic Patience. Here's the hard truth most people refuse to accept. Success is not instant. Genius is not immediate. Mastery takes time. You live in a world obsessed with speed, fast results, quick wins, overnight success. That's a lie. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. And wait intelligently. Strategic patience is the ability to act consistently toward a goal while understanding that results will not appear immediately. It's the ability to endure without constant validation. It's the rare skill of trusting the process while resisting impulsive shortcuts. Most people quit too early. They start, they fail once, they see no immediate reward, and they give up. That's why the average never surpasses mediocrity. Here's the key. Patience without action is laziness. Action without patience is frustration. Strategic patience combines both. Let's break it down. 1. Trust the invisible work. Every expert has months or years of invisible effort behind their visible results. You won't see it. You won't feel it immediately. You may even doubt it. Ignore doubt. Trust your repetitions, your study, your habits, your endurance. The results are accumulating beneath the surface. Invisible effort compounds silently. Then suddenly, one day, breakthrough arrives. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Trust the invisible. 2. Delay gratification. Most people chase immediate pleasure. They want comfort now, recognition now, results now. That's the opposite of strategic patience. Mastery requires trading short-term comfort for long-term gains. You delay gratification daily. You prioritize practice over entertainment. You prioritize improvement over approval. Discomfort now compounds into dominance later. 3. Measure progress strategically. Patience without measurement becomes passivity. Track milestones. Track micro-improvements. Track skill acquisition. Even when the world sees no progress, you know you're moving. Measurement validates persistence. It reinforces commitment. 4. Separate emotion from outcome. Your brain wants instant reward. It reacts emotionally when results lack. Frustration, doubt, boredom, they all appear. Strategic patience means maintaining composure despite these emotions. Your focus remains on the process, not the validation of results. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Control your emotions. Focus on actions. Ignore the timing. 5. Leverage compounding. Patience allows compounding to occur. Just as money compounds in a bank account, skill compounds in practice. Each repetition, each adjustment, each day of discipline builds on the last. You don't see exponential growth immediately, but over time, compounding turns consistency into dominance. Here's a reality check. Most people quit just before compounding pays off. You must endure beyond their breaking point. That's the advantage. 6. Learn to wait strategically. Patience is not passive, it's active observation. It's using downtime to learn, analyze, and prepare. When results stall, don't panic. Double down on study, refine skills, adjust habits. You are not idle. You are preparing for acceleration. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Strategic patience is a superpower. Most people quit too soon. You endure longer than anyone else. Let's address impatience. Impatience is wasted energy. It leads to poor decisions. It encourages shortcuts that backfire. It triggers doubt and distraction. Patience is productive energy. It channels effort, focus, and discipline into long-term wins. You have a choice: explode with short-term effort for quick validation, or sustain disciplined action, let compounding work, and dominate over time. That's the key difference between mediocrity and genius. Here's another truth. Results rarely match effort in the short term. You may work harder than everyone else for months or even years and feel invisible. That's when patience is tested. If you quit now, you'll never see the breakthrough. If you endure, mastery is inevitable. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Embrace discomfort. Ignore the impatience. Trust your process. Strong takeaway. Strategic patience is not passive waiting. It's active, intelligent persistence. It's trusting the invisible work. It's delaying gratification while compounding skill. It's ignoring emotion while focusing on action. Those who master patience outperform those who seek instant results every time. Next, we will combine everything you've learned so far: habits, endurance, focus, study, failure, emotional control, and patience into a framework for taking massive, unstoppable action. Because without action, all strategy and patience are meaningless.
Chapter 12. Take massive, unstoppable action. Here's the reality. Strategy, patience, endurance, they're all useless without action. Action is where dreams collide with reality. Action is where excuses die. Action is where progress is created. You've studied the greats, you've built habits, you've endured, you've focused, you've waited strategically. Now it's time to move. Not a little, not cautiously, massively. Start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard, and act relentlessly. Let's be clear. Massive action is not random busyness. It is deliberate, purposeful, high-leverage activity. It's designed to move you faster toward your goal. Most people hesitate. They plan endlessly. They overthink. They ask, "What if I fail?" They wait for permission. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need motivation. You need courage. Courage to act imperfectly, courage to risk embarrassment, courage to do what others refuse to do. Start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard. Here's how massive action works. 1. Prioritize high-leverage tasks. Not all actions are equal. Some move the needle, some are noise. Identify the 20% of actions that produce 80% of results. Focus on those relentlessly. Ignore the rest. This is how you create exponential impact. 2. Act immediately. The longer you wait, the weaker your impulse becomes. Execution decays with delay. Start now. Start imperfectly. Adjust as you go. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Done is better than perfect. 3. Overcommit to effort. Massive action is messy. It is intense. It requires more than ordinary energy. It demands full commitment. Half-hearted effort produces half-hearted results. Outwork, outlast, outpush everyone around you. That's how you dominate. 4. Use failure as fuel. You will fail. You must. Fail quickly, learn faster, and keep moving. Each mistake provides data. Each setback sharpens judgment. Each misstep refines execution. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Fail more than others. Learn more than others. Move faster than others. 5. Compound actions daily. One massive action is powerful. A day of massive actions is unstoppable. A month, revolutionary. A year, unrecognizable. Consistency compounds impact faster than brilliance alone. Every day you take massive action, you edge closer to mastery. 6. Break through resistance. Your brain will resist. Discomfort will rise. Your ego will plead for retreat. Push anyway. Discomfort is the signal that you are growing. The resistance is proof that your action matters. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Do it again. Do it consistently. Do it intelligently. 7. Act with urgency, not recklessness. Massive action does not mean rushing blindly. It means executing with purpose and intensity. Every step must align with your goal. Every effort must reinforce progress. Here's a secret most people ignore. Massive action compounds with focus and patience. You don't sprint aimlessly, you sprint strategically. 8. Ignore the noise. Critics will comment, opportunities will distract, doubt will whisper. Relentless action requires ignoring everything that does not accelerate your goal. Discipline is selective attention applied to execution. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Ignore noise. Double down on the work that matters. 9. Embrace intensity and duration. Massive action is not a sprint. It's a marathon of intensity. You must sustain effort over days, weeks, months, and years. Relentless intensity plus consistent duration produces unstoppable momentum. Ordinary people quit in fatigue. You continue in strategy. 10. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Recognize wins, track improvement, adjust, then continue. Small wins fuel motivation. Big wins compound into dominance. Celebrate actions taken, not just outcomes achieved. Strong takeaway. Massive, unstoppable action bridges the gap between knowledge and results. All your preparation, habits, endurance, focus, study, patience culminates in execution. Action amplifies potential into reality. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Fail more than others. Focus relentlessly. Persist strategically. This is how ordinary people become extraordinary. Next, we move to Chapter 13, Outlast Everyone. Because action alone is not enough. Lasting impact belongs to those who persist longer than everyone else.
Chapter 13. Outlast Everyone. Here's the truth most people refuse to admit. Winning isn't about speed. It's about staying power. It's about endurance. It's about outlasting the competition when they give up. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. And commit to lasting longer than anyone else. Most people quit just before success arrives. They surrender after months or even years of effort. They get tired. They get frustrated. They lose faith. That's your opportunity. Outlasting everyone means continuing when others stop. It means maintaining effort when excitement fades. It means being relentless when everyone else is exhausted. Let's break it down. 1. Develop physical and mental stamina. Your mind quits before your body does. Your body quits before your strategy does. Train both relentlessly. Push your limits. Practice discomfort. Endure longer than anyone around you. Your stamina will become a weapon. When others collapse under pressure, you advance. 2. Embrace longevity over speed. Most people chase quick wins. They sprint, burn out, and quit. Outlasters think long-term. They pace themselves. They conserve energy. They focus on sustainable execution. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Speed without endurance is wasted effort. Longevity compounds results over years. 3. Consistency is your secret weapon. One day of effort is invisible. 1 week of effort is fleeting. 1 year of relentless execution is unstoppable. Consistency wears down resistance. It builds reputation. It builds skill. It builds momentum that cannot be reversed. 4. Turn setbacks into momentum. Failures will happen. Obstacles will arise. Disappointments will strike. Most people quit when they fail. Outlasters convert failure into fuel. They analyze, adjust, and keep moving. Every setback is a chance to demonstrate persistence. Every obstacle is proof of resilience. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Turn resistance into opportunity. Turn frustration into action. 5. Ignore external validation. Outlasting everyone requires internal drive. You cannot depend on applause, recognition, or approval. Motivation from others is fleeting. Discipline is permanent. Focus on your standards, your processes, and your growth. Let the world react to your results later. 6. Build a thick skin. Criticism will come. Doubt will arise. People will try to pull you down. Outlasters develop a mental shield. They don't respond emotionally. They don't let noise interfere. They keep executing. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Your resilience will outlast fear, doubt, and distraction. 7. Celebrate the small wins along the way. Outlasting is a marathon, not a sprint. Mark milestones, acknowledge progress, reinforce discipline. Small wins are energy injections for the long haul. They keep momentum alive. 8.
Keep learning while executing. Most quit because they stop growing. Outlasters continue to learn, adapt, and evolve. Every day presents new lessons. Every challenge refines skill. Every experience compounds endurance. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Learning ensures you never stagnate. 9. Anchor yourself in purpose. Your reason for persistence must be greater than discomfort. Without a clear why, endurance collapses. Anchor in purpose. Anchor in vision. Anchor in identity. When pain arises, remind yourself, I endure because I must. I endure because I will win. 10. Make quitting impossible. Outlasting everyone is easier when quitting is not an option. Commit publicly. Write your goals. Hold yourself accountable. If quitting is off the table, effort becomes inevitable. Your only choice is to persist. Here's the reality. Most people cannot outlast you because they lack patience, discipline, and self-command. You already built habits. You already developed endurance. You already mastered focus. You already acted strategically. Outlasting is the final weapon. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Persist when tired. Persist when frustrated. Persist when results are invisible. Because the person who stays longer than everyone else always wins. Strong takeaway. Outlasting everyone is not about brilliance or luck. It is about disciplined persistence, unshakable focus, and unwavering patience. You will face resistance, setbacks, and doubt, but those who endure rise above. Outlast, and you dominate. Next, we move to Chapter 14. Turn knowledge into unstoppable confidence. Because skill, strategy, and endurance mean nothing if you don't act with absolute certainty in your abilities.
Chapter 14. Turn knowledge into unstoppable confidence. Here's the truth most people never realize. Knowing is not enough. Studying is not enough. Practicing is not enough. Without confidence, your skills remain idle. They stay on paper. They stay in theory. They never transform into results. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. And turn your knowledge into unstoppable confidence. Confidence is not arrogance. It's not pretending to know more than you do. It's the quiet, unshakable belief that you can act effectively even in uncertainty. Most people confuse confidence with luck or talent. They think the bold succeed because they're naturally gifted. Wrong. Confidence is earned. It's built from preparation, repetition, endurance, and results. It's forged in the crucible of action and refined by experience. Here's how you develop unstoppable confidence. 1. Master your craft. Skill builds certainty. The more competent you become, the less room there is for doubt. Deliberate practice turns hesitation into instinct. Repetition rewires your brain to act decisively. Start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard. Each hour of focused work builds a foundation for unshakable confidence. 2. Act despite fear. Fear is unavoidable. Doubt is inevitable. But confidence emerges when you act anyway. The person who hesitates loses. The person who acts imperfectly learns faster and gains momentum. Courage plus action equals confidence. 3. Internalize your wins. Most people rely on external validation to feel capable. Praise, recognition, approval. That's temporary. True confidence comes from internal acknowledgement. Keep a record of your progress. Track milestones. Remind yourself how far you've come. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Your internal proof outweighs the opinions of others. 4. Convert knowledge into action. Knowing facts is passive. Applying knowledge is active. Execution transforms theory into results.
Every time you implement what you've learned, your confidence grows. Every action that produces results validates your skill. Every failure that you learn from strengthens your belief in yourself. 5. Build a feedback loop. Confidence is not blind certainty. It grows from informed action. Take action. Analyze outcomes. Adjust. Repeat. This cycle turns uncertainty into predictability. Predictability turns hesitation into decisive action. 6. Eliminate comparison. Comparing yourself to others destroys confidence. You are not them. Your journey is unique. Focus on your growth. Focus on your progress. Focus on your actions. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Measure against yourself, not everyone else. Self-comparison builds mastery and belief. 7. Anchor confidence in preparation. Fear decreases as preparation increases. The more you prepare, the more decisive you become. Preparation eliminates doubt, reduces hesitation, and allows bold action. Preparation plus action equals confidence. Action plus results equals mastery. Mastery plus persistence equals unshakable certainty. 8. Repetition builds resilience. Confidence is strengthened every time you act and persist. Each time you endure discomfort, each time you face fear, each time you execute under pressure, your belief grows. Confidence is not instant. It compounds like skill. Start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard. Persist until action becomes instinct. Persist until hesitation becomes impossible. 9. Visualize success, then execute. Mental rehearsal prepares your mind for action. See yourself performing with precision. See obstacles overcome. See results achieved. Visualization primes your mind. Execution proves it. Confidence is born at the intersection of preparation, visualization, and relentless action. 10. Own your decisions. Confidence grows when you accept full responsibility for outcomes. Stop blaming circumstances, people, or luck. Take control of your choices. Lead your life decisively. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Act with authority in every decision. Confidence will follow. Here's the truth. Most people know what to do but hesitate because they doubt themselves. You know more than you realize. You have practiced more than you remember. You have endured more than you think. Confidence is simply remembering your preparation and acting anyway. Strong takeaway. Knowledge without action is wasted potential. Confidence without skill is fragile. The combination of relentless action, endurance, preparation, and study produces unstoppable confidence. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Act decisively. Believe unshakably. Next, we move to Chapter 15, Become the Person Others Cannot Outperform. Because ultimate mastery is not just skill or knowledge, it's becoming the embodiment of relentless, unstoppable success.
Chapter 15. Become the person others cannot outperform. Here's the ultimate truth. You don't just compete with others. You compete with yourself. You compete with your limits, your fears, your excuses. And the person who dominates life is the one who refuses to be outworked, outlearned, or outlasted. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Become unstoppable. Most people settle. They measure themselves against the average. They give up when it's uncomfortable. They rely on talent, luck, or motivation. You are different. You will outwork, outthink, and outendure everyone in your lane. Let's break down how to become the person others cannot outperform. 1. Relentless work ethic. Talent is fleeting. Effort is permanent. The person who consistently outperforms isn't necessarily smarter, they just refuse to stop. They practice when others rest, they study when others party, they work when others complain. Start before you're ready, stay after it gets hard. Your work ethic becomes a force multiplier. 2. Unshakable mental toughness.
Life will test you. Challenges will arrive uninvited. Obstacles will seem insurmountable. Outperformers embrace adversity. They do not complain, they do not retreat, they do not quit. Mental toughness allows you to keep going when everyone else has given up. It's the difference between temporary effort and permanent dominance. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Your mind must obey your standards, not your moods. 3. Mastered emotional control. Emotions can sabotage even the most prepared person. Fear, frustration, envy, and doubt are everywhere. You cannot control what happens, but you can control your reaction. Your emotional response determines your performance under pressure. Outperformers remain calm in chaos. They execute when others panic. They think clearly when others act impulsively. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Emotional control converts pressure into advantage. 4. Superior focus. Distraction is the enemy of dominance. The average person divides attention, loses momentum, and achieves little. You focus like a laser. One task, one priority, one goal, until it is complete. Focus compounds. Relentless focus plus disciplined execution equals unstoppable results. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Your focus is your unfair advantage. 5. Strategic patience and timing. Quick reactions without patience are reckless. Long-term vision without action is futile. Outperformers know when to act. They know when to wait. They know when to push and when to conserve energy. Strategic patience turns waiting into preparation. It turns effort into compounding results. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Patience plus action equals inevitability. 6. Continuous learning and adaptation. The world changes. Competitors adapt. Industries evolve. You cannot remain stagnant. You study the greats, analyze patterns, refine strategies, and improve every day. Outperformers never stop learning. They improve faster than everyone else. They adjust while others complain. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Learning ensures you remain untouchable. 7. Unbreakable consistency. Short bursts of excellence are common. Sustained dominance is rare. The person others cannot outperform shows up daily, even when tired, even when frustrated, even when invisible. Consistency compounds like interest. It turns small daily victories into long-term supremacy. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Your daily habits create your inevitable advantage. 8. Failure as fuel. Everyone will face failure. Outperformers see it as feedback. They adjust, learn, and act faster. Failure is a teacher. Pain is a guide. Resistance is a signal to push harder. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Use every setback to reinforce your advantage. 9. Relentless identity. Ultimately, the person others cannot outperform is defined by identity. They don't act only when motivated. They don't work only when convenient. They live by standards that cannot be compromised. Identity drives habits, endurance, and action. When the world tests them, their identity wins. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Become the type of person who cannot quit, cannot settle, and cannot be outperformed. 10. Legacy mindset. Outperformance is not temporary. It's not for applause or recognition. It's about becoming someone whose impact cannot be ignored. Focus on long-term dominance. Build systems, habits, and skills that outlast fleeting trends. Your influence becomes unstoppable when your capabilities surpass those around you. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Think beyond today. Think in terms of compounding influence. Strong takeaway. Becoming the person others cannot outperform requires relentless work ethic, mental toughness, emotional control, unstoppable focus, strategic patience, continuous learning, unbreakable consistency, failure turned into fuel, identity-driven action, and a long-term legacy mindset. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Push past exhaustion. Learn faster. Endure longer. Act decisively. This is how you become untouchable. This is how ordinary effort transforms into extraordinary domination.
Closing chapter. Your choice, your legacy. Here's the final truth. Everything you've heard in this audiobook is useless unless you act. Talent is overrated. Motivation is fleeting. Knowledge is powerless without execution. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. Your life will be defined by the choices you make in the next hour, the next day, and the next year. You have endured the chapters on stopping waiting for talent, embracing failure, studying the greats, building habits, mastering focus, exercising strategic patience, taking massive action, outlasting everyone, turning knowledge into unstoppable confidence, becoming the person others cannot outperform. Everything builds to this. You are capable of more than you believe, but there is no magic. No one will do it for you. No permission is needed. No perfect timing exists. Start now. Fail fast. Learn faster. Persist longer. Focus sharper. Act bigger. Every day you delay, someone else takes your place. Every day you wait, average wins. Every day you hesitate, potential rots. Start before you're ready. Stay after it gets hard. This is your life, your time, your moment. You have a choice. Stay average, like everyone else, or step into relentless action, endure longer than anyone else, and become unstoppable. Remember this. Genius is not born, it is built through failure, repetition, focus, patience, and courage. Now it's your turn. Take the lessons, apply them relentlessly, and outlast everyone who doubts you. Your future self is waiting. Make them proud. Start now. Stay hard. Dominate. Closing. 1-minute ending. You were never lacking talent. You were lacking repetition. You were lacking structured pressure. You were lacking emotional control. And now you know the truth. Genius is not born in a moment. It's built in private. It's built in boredom. It's built in failure. It's built in discipline. You have a choice. Stay average and blame talent, or build greatness and take responsibility. Start today. Pick one skill. Repeat it daily. Stay when it gets hard. Because genius isn't given, it's built. Now go build it.